Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this important panel on the future of work, where we will now listen to the young professionals after listening to the institutional experiences, university insights, and also the company perspectives. So, well, we are all aware, in fact, that our industry has been going through a profound transformation, mainly driven by technology, AI, geopolitical challenges, environmental concerns, as well as changing workforce expectations and new social priorities. So in fact, all over the world, indeed, at the moment, the young professionals, they are not questioning only what career should I build, but they're also questioning now what kind of impact can I create, what value does this industry represent, and does this industry offer innovation, flexibility, purpose, and growth? So, well, let me start with a quick personal question to all of you. In fact, could you briefly tell us, what originally attracted you to the energy industry? And if you were making the same decision again, then would you still choose this industry? Can we start with you, Mariela?
Yes, thank you. First, I want to briefly thank ARPEL and Carlos for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. In my case, what attracted me to the industry was the challenge. I started my career in upstream, in the oil and gas, and it represented something entirely new. It also meant, in my case, moving far away from home. It represented, stepping far outside my comfort zone and growing both professionally and personally at a very fast pace. And what kept me in the industry is this understanding of the importance of energy, how it is the core pretty much of everything we do as a society. So yeah, I would choose it again, 100%.
Great. So what do you think, Maximiliano?
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. In my case, during college, I've had the opportunity to learn a lot about industrial processes and optimization, but I soon realized the energy industry offers a lot more opportunities. For example, the challenges involved in ensuring a safe and secure operation 24/7 are what drove me to build my career in this field. Furthermore, I feel that I am being part of something bigger. I mean, working collectively toward improving society is amazing. It has not been an easy path, that's for sure, but it is one I would choose again without a doubt.
Well, thank you, Maximiliano. So, Daniella, what do you think?
Hello, Ursu. Hello, everyone. Well, what first attracted me to this industry, to the oil and gas industry, 15 years ago, back when I was at university, was the fact that it was, and I think it still is, an industry with very few presence of women in the industry. So I wanted to be part of that minority. I think this is the first panel when the majority of us are women, and that is something important to highlight. And the other thing was kind of the same that you mentioned, Mariela, the challenge. We engineers are problem solvers, and that is something that pushes me to learn more every day. So I will definitely choose the same career back again.
Yeah, amazing. So what do you think, Lara?
Okay, I agree with what they have said. But in my case, what attracted me to the industry was the possibility of applying my geology background into an industry with a tangible impact on society. I wanted to apply the tools that I acquired in university into help discover, develop the energy resources we highly depend on. So if I were to choose this field again, I would definitely do so. And I think that my perspective is broader now because working in unconventionals, for example, challenge you to rethink about your paradigms. So I think it's very rewarding and intellectually challenging every day.
Well, thank you very much. In fact, it's very interesting because despite having different backgrounds, we do have a common reasoning behind, which is the opportunity to make a meaningful impact at that. So, well, let's try to explore, indeed, whether our industry still remains an attractive sector or not for the next generations to come. We know that there is intense competition for talent today. So new graduates can choose other topics, especially towards technological advancements, AI, finance, renewables, startups, many other sectors. So I just wanted to go with you, Lara, as someone actively involved with young professionals through IAPG at the moment. Could you mention what are the biggest expectations young professionals have today from employers? What do they really look for indeed?
What we have been seeing throughout the years with our activities with the IAPG or IAPG and the conversations with both students and young professionals, I think that they are looking for more than just a job opportunity. I mean, of course, compensation is important for them, but if I had to group their expectation, I will divide them into 3 main categories: purpose, workplace culture, and also innovation. First of all, about purpose. Young professionals want to feel that they are learning, growing, being challenged, and moreover, that they are doing something meaningful. Second, about workplace culture, I'm sure that you know about this and you have heard about this in the other panels, but young professionals naturally want to work in an environment that is collaborative, with approachable leaders, with flexibility and constant feedback. That is very important for them. And lastly, I think innovation is also key. We are very surprised that students come with all stereotypes about the industry. They feel like it is something old-fashioned or stagnant. But when they are exposed to the real challenges of the industry and the huge scale of the projects and the cutting-edge technology that they use, they feel challenged and they want to work in the industry. So I think, yes, the industry is really attractive for them, but they are also needing a place that they feel is innovative, with great environment, and where they feel that they are doing something meaningful, more importantly.
Yeah. So, well, Mariela, going to a little bit into the regional context, if I may ask, like many young professionals in Latin America have opportunities, of course, to work abroad in other sectors as well. So what do you think the energy industry in this region can offer that makes it an attractive place to build a career for?
Well, what I think is attractive is this unique combination of opportunities we are seeing today in our region. We've been hearing throughout these days in the conference that this is the decade of Latin America and the Caribbean. I believe it is, and I'm excited that it is actually. So I think we have in our region a diverse energy mix. We have huge oil and gas capabilities, huge renewable potential, and also potential for other technologies and green molecules. So all of this together generates an environment where young professionals can get exposure to really complex challenges and, that have the possibility to make real impact early in their careers. So I think that's the attractive thing, the opportunity to grow in a region that is very rich in resources and I believe is shaping the future of energy systems globally. So stay in the region.
Thank you, Mariela.
Yes.
So, well, and Daniella, in fact, switching to a technology and innovation perspective, do you think the energy sector is communicating enough about how technologically advanced it actually is?
Well, I do think that technology advances are being communicated properly, especially in the oil and gas industry, whether it is through papers, conferences like this one, for example, or the engagement from vendors with the plants, visit to the plants. For example, I recall my first job when I was back in the refining industry. It was very difficult for us to detect, for example, or to confirm if a leak was indeed positive or negative in a pipeline, for example. And we have to make that decision back then to shut down the plant to determine if the pipeline was leaking or not. Currently, that decision is kind of difficult because you compromise the production. And right now, you do have that technology to determine if a pipeline is leaking or not without shutting down the plant, using some devices based on, for example, sound technology or acoustic technology. And that is something very important. That has been a change in the industry that I have seen. And us, as young professionals, have that challenge right now, not only to have that knowledge, but to use it in our industry. So I think that's the main challenge for us right now.
Okay, well, just to trigger a little bit more, Maximiliano. So what do you think if the industry still misunderstands about the younger generation or not? What are the main challenges that young professionals are facing in an industry that is changing at a very high speed at the moment?
It is a very good question. But let me tell you that I actually believe the industry understands the new generation quite well. For example, together with the Young Professionals Committee, we've been developing service for over a decade now. And the results are quite interesting. In relation to what Lara mentioned a few minutes ago, the three aspects young professionals value the most when they are looking for a job are work-life balance, a positive work environment, and finally, a clear career path with continuous training. However, younger generations are also bolder. They are eager for growth, and it has become increasingly common to switch companies or roles these days, and HR leaders are aware of these circumstances. So, in my opinion, the challenge is how companies can keep evolving and adapting in order to meet both the previous and the next generation expectations, which is quite difficult. Regarding the main challenges these young professionals are facing, I have to say I agree completely with the concepts mentioned earlier. Technology is advancing at a pace we've never seen before, and professionals are expected to adapt faster than ever. It has become quite difficult to keep up with every new development, and yet it is essential to do so. So it is a huge human challenge to combine soft skills, hard skills, and the new tools and technology available.
Well, thank you. It is in fact clear that the opportunities remain strong, but the expectations are evolving from the young professionals' perspective. So, well, just keeping to the context of future skills and leadership, to Maximiliano, so if we continue with you again, could you tell us, as an engineer in complex projects, what technical and non-technical skills are becoming more important lately?
Well, today's projects have become challenging. Hard skills can no longer be managed in isolation, as I mentioned earlier. On the technical side, I would say the skills that are defining our industry are digitalization, data analytics, and predictive modeling, for example. From reservoir management to pipeline integrity and process optimization, the volume of data is massive. The challenge is no longer how we obtain the information, but rather how we use it, and especially how we combine it with data science in order to make faster and more efficient decisions. On the other hand, on the non-technical side, I would like to highlight two skills that I feel are important these days: effective communication and team collaboration. In today's project, it's common to interact with different stakeholders. And the question is, what good is it to have a brilliant technical solution if you can't communicate it effectively? So young professionals must be able to translate these complex metrics and complex concepts into easy ideas to share the value of the project. Finally, team collaboration is non-negotiable. Even when professionals work in individual tasks, the ultimate goal is always shared. So we, as an industry, need to understand that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength, and that no one succeeds alone. Without a team, the road is simply too steep.
Well, thank you, indeed. Mariela, if we would like to continue with you, from the World Energy Council's perspective. So how do you think professionals view the energy transformation, not transition, let's not say that, and the future energy mix context?
Well, what I see through the World Energy Council is that young professionals, or well, future LNG leaders, as the program is called, have a pretty pragmatic view of these energy transformations. I think it's clear that it's not about one unique solution or technology. It's about building a more diversified, resilient energy mix, and most importantly, one that is reflecting the reality of each region. In this sense, we talk a lot about the energy trilemma. That is this framework that balances energy security, energy equity, and environmental sustainability. So trying to identify solutions that can enhance these dimensions. Of course, it's pretty hard, if not impossible, to find one solution that can improve and maximize all of them at the same time. But for each region, for each country, you can probably, under this framework, identify which of these dimensions need to be prioritized. And lastly, what we always discuss is when we talk about the transformation of the energy systems, don't forget to keep people at the center of the discussions, making sure these transformations are inclusive and are effectively positive for the communities.
Well, thank you. Well, Daniella, if we again go to the regional context back again, do you think Latin America is doing enough to develop and retain energy talent? Or do you see a risk losing some of the best talents to other industries or to other regions?
Well, Latin America is going through a context very complex right now. We have two countries right now that are in the middle of an election. So we have the geopolitical context very moved right now. And I think we have to see that as a positive thing, because we have challenges here. And there is a big opportunity for the young professionals to make a change here right now. We were discussing over lunch together with some other professionals about how things get a bit boring when everything is smooth. So in particular, in Latin American case, that never happens. You don't get bored here. So I think it's not that like Latin America makes that in order to retain the young professionals here, but it is a context that we are right now, and we have to make the best out of it.
You're right, and believe me, it's all over the world the same, not only related to the regional conditions, but it's true for all over the world indeed. So, well, Lara, maybe switching to you, a little bit of a challenging question. If you could then redesign the university education for the future energy workforce, what would you change?
Hola, hola. Okay. It is a very difficult question indeed for a geologist, but I think that if I were to change something, I would make stronger connections between academic learning and real industry problems. I think that many students graduate with a strong technical knowledge. Let's get that right. But sometimes they struggle to see how their own discipline can impact tremendously a whole project. So I think that to bridge that gap, exposing them early on to real and practical examples could be essential. For instance, I'm thinking about my career, but imagine including in university multidisciplinary projects that are practical with real industry data. And for instance, you can have, I don't know, a mechanical engineer with a chemical engineer student alongside a geologist, a geophysicist, working to develop from beginning to end a subsurface energy project. This exercise would involve forcing them to step out of their own disciplines and to work together with digital tools to solve a complex industry problem. This alone will not only strengthen their technical skills, but I think that will help them build an adaptable skill set. As my colleagues mentioned earlier on, they will build their effective communication skills, teamwork skills. So I think it could be something, I don't know, interesting to add into university programs. And it will make the transition from university to industry much more smoother, but also it would get them interested in the industry because they will be able to see early on, still in university, how complex, multidisciplinary the industry problems and projects are.
Well, thank you. Important points. We hope that all is noted. So, well, now to elaborate a little bit on the future workplace. Daniella, can we continue with you? So, considering that many young professionals today prioritize purpose, flexibility, and diverse experiences over long-term stability, frequent job changes are becoming more common lately. So, how can organizations preserve technical expertise and institutional knowledge in this context?
Well, what I am seeing right now in different companies is that they are implementing something in both sides, for young professionals and for senior professionals. For example, for young professionals, they are implementing something that is called frontline engagement, allowing field operators, very junior professionals to propose ideas, and not only executing tasks, but proposing, being exposed, being part of the decision-making of the company. And I think that is important because you get that as a motivation boost. And on the other hand, we have the timeline in order to get a promotion for a young professional that is being reduced by a lot of companies. So you get very young professional leaders at a very young age, and you allow them in that way to make the decisions, to mentor other young professionals. In that way, you get them to mature early. But how about the senior professionals? In that way, I have seen that many companies are repositioning them on a role as technical advisors. So you have the best of both generations. You have young professionals growing up, making decisions, but at the same time being mentored by technical advisors and taking advantage of that experience, that all the background that they have. And as a company, you grow up in that way.
Thank you. So, well, Mariela, I just want to ask you, could be a bit tricky again, but do you think young professionals today are less loyal to companies, or are companies simply not adapting fast enough?
That's the controversial question. And I was asked this question during lunch, and I was like, just wait, we will talk about it. No, I don't think young professionals are less loyal to companies. I just think that expectations and priorities have simply evolved. My perspective is that today young professionals are looking not only for stability, that the industry I think is good in providing that, but also they are looking for purpose. They are looking for growth opportunities. They are looking for this sense of knowing that what I do on a daily basis is meaningful, has an impact. So that has changed. And when those expectations aren't met on one job, in one company, younger generations are more open to explore other opportunities. But of course, if those conditions are met, I work, I know, and I think most of young professionals are willing to just build long-term careers in the companies and are highly engaged and motivated in those jobs. So I don't think it's a loyalty issue at all. It's just an evolution that is fast, but it's a challenge.
That's important. So, well, I just would like to go forward with the question that what role do professional communities play in helping young professionals enter and grow within the industry? So we do have representatives from IAGP, WEC. So can we continue with you, Mariela, maybe, to evaluate about?
Yes, I think these committees, these young professional committees and or programs, as the one I'm participating now, that is the Future Energy Leader programs at the World Energy Council. I also was part of YAPG's young professional committees some years ago. I think these committees, these communities are essential. In my experience, I just think they were very important in the development of my career, not only for networking, that of course that's always important, but also for gaining exposure to different perspectives. While I'm participating in these communities, in these programs, I'm able to have conversations that maybe I'm not able to have within my company. I build meaningful connections with other peers. I accelerate my learning, and I get a broader and a better understanding of the entire sector, because sometimes most of us that have a very technical background, we are very focused on our jobs and see like this component of the entire value chain. When you go to these communities, to these conversations, you get this wider and bigger picture that is very useful. So I think these spaces are very important, and I want to encourage the sector to take advantage of these young professionals communities and really like use them to build interesting initiatives, to attract young professionals, and just to build something from them, because you will find a lot of energized young professionals willing to collaborate.
Thank you. Well, Lara, would you like to comment on that as well?
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree with what Mariela has said, and I think that to build on that, I think these young professionals committees are a very vital complement to our daily work in the office or outside in the field. And for students, more particularly, I wish that we are making the industry feel more accessible for them, because we are putting together senior professionals with real career path with students, and we are making that happen. So I feel that for we have been seeing over the years, that makes the industry way more interesting and more accessible for them. But if I could add something more, I think that they are also like leadership laboratories in a way, because you are not only, in your day-to-day work, and especially at the beginning of your career, you're focusing maybe on the technical aspect. But in these committees, you are working, organizing talks, organizing panels like this one, networking events. So it becomes a safe space to practice public speaking, teamwork, why not? And in the end, I think it benefits both the students, the young professionals that are within these committees, but also the senior professional as well, because they are always feeling grateful to be connecting with us and understanding what we are feeling about the industry.
Thank you, Lara. Well, indeed, at this point, maybe I can also quickly mention about the WPC Energy as well, that it has 20 years ago also set a young professionals committee to give a voice to the young professions and students and keep them in the discussions of attraction and retention of them to the energy industry, just organizing some youth forums, some industry events, mentoring programs and others that we are also proud of. But still there's a lot to do for the engagement, indeed. In fact, discussing the facts is of course important, but the most important part is how to take action on these things. So therefore, it's very important for all of us to learn from each other, not young people talking with young people, but having the engagement with seniors makes a lot of sense, and that we learn from each other in this manner. So, well, before, in fact, we conclude, let me ask each of you for a final thought. In one sentence, or a couple, What do you think is the most important thing in the energy industry to attract and retain the next generation? That was a question in the early mornings sessions, so that now the young professionals will respond to that. So can we start, Mariela, with you?
Sure. I think the industry needs to better connect and communicate what we do with the impact we create. I can't think of any role inside the energy industry that is not impactful or meaningful in some way. So if we are able to communicate this impact better and to reach and to engage with the younger generations, we will be able to already provide purpose and impact on their careers. And together, that purpose, that impact with growth opportunities, I think is a great combo to attract and to retain young professionals in the industry, in the energy sector.
Thank you. So Maximiliano, what do you think?
Well, I think the industry needs to understand that every young professional is different. The industry needs to keep investing in professional career development, and especially in creating environments when young professionals can be mentored by professionals with a lot of experience.
Thank you. Daniella, what do you think?
Well, I heard in the one of the morning panels with the university professors, one of them mentioned something important. He said chemical engineer, petroleum engineering, and engineering is a difficult career. So as a background of engineers, we always want to have a challenge in front of us. So as long as we have a challenge, a problem to solve, I think we will be entertained.
Thank you. So Lara?
Okay. I think that I don't want to be repetitive, but I agree with all of you. I think that to sum it up, the industry needs to give young talent an environment in where they feel that they are contributing, understanding the importance of the job that we are doing, and moreover with the projects that we have in the near future in Argentina, the huge scale and importance of them, but also an environment where young professionals feel that they are being challenged and they feel that they are growing.
Thank you, Lara. Well, as we conclude, I would like to just reflect on a few messages that stood out from our discussions. So first, we understand it is clear that the industry remains still attractive to build a career for a young generation, not because it's easy, but because it offers the opportunity to solve complex challenges that matter to the society, to make a meaningful contribution to the society. Well, second, we can see that the expectations of young professionals are changing. The career growth opportunities, continuous learning, flexibility, work-life balance, purpose, and inclusion are the key factors in attracting and retaining young talent, as far as we understand. And employers, therefore, must ensure that the talent development evolves as quickly as technology. So thirdly, while, of course, AI, digitalization, and new energy technologies are reshaping the industry, the message here is clear. Technical expertise remains, of course, essential, but it's no longer enough on its own. Future leaders will have to combine strong technical skills with adaptability, with collaboration, strong communication skills, and of course, with lifelong learning. So another important takeaway from here is that young professionals certainly want to make an impact and help build realistic solutions for the future of the industry. For especially Latin America in particular, attracting and retaining talent is not only a workforce issue, but it's a strategic imperative. The region has great opportunities, but the potential, of course, will depend on having skilled, innovative and motivated professionals. So finally, it was also encouraging to hear how professional communities and committees, of course, support young talent, providing valuable opportunities for learning, mentorship, collaboration, and leadership development beyond individual companies thus. So in short, in fact, our discussion in this panel reminds us that the future of work in energy is not only about technology, not about only digitalization or environment. In fact, it's more about people, it's more about purpose. And it's about creating an industry where the next generation feels they can innovate, contribute, and lead. So the future of energy, indeed, will depend not only on the resources that we develop, but also on the talent that we inspire. So I would like to thank you very much for all our panelists, for this insightful discussions. And thank you for all of you for being with us. Please also join me a big round of applause for our panelists.